Hey guys, so before the video starts, I just wanted to announce we now have channel memberships. I know, very exciting. All you have to do is click the join button on my channel page and you'll have access to exclusive badges and perks such as priority selection in community events, priority responses in the live chat, and much more. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to join the channel Discord server via the link in the description of every video and stream. Whether you're looking for someone to talk to, jam a game with, or just looking to be part of a welcoming community, then our Discord server is the place for you. So today I have a video that is a bit different to the usual, as we're going to be discussing some of the key issues of the new patch and what I believe to be the solution to the new MMR or skill-based matchmaking that is going to be the permanent matchmaking system following the release of Pinhead in the 5.2.0 patch. So to start things off, I thought it would be best to outline what skill-based matchmaking actually is for those who aren't completely sure, along with the new grade rank system being introduced in the new patch. Skill-based matchmaking is completely different to the rank-based matchmaking we've been used to previously, as rather than taking into consideration your rank when finding matches, it uses your MMR or matchmaking rating. Now this is where the first issue I have with this system arises, as how it is supposed to work is if you win a match, then as a result your MMR will increase, therefore also increasing the skill level of your opponents. On the other hand, if you lose a match, your MMR will decrease, resulting in easier matches with less skilled opponents. Now, personally, I enjoy reading through the patch notes each time a new patch is released to gain a thorough understanding of the changes in the game, but the problem with this is that the developers actually haven't stated what constitutes a win or a loss in any of the patch notes. As you guys would know, there are very many variables which contribute to what would be considered a successful match for both killer and survivor. To name a few, on the survivor side, there is the ability to run the killer for a prolonged period of time, complete gens efficiently, making correct decisions to benefit the team, and then there is of course the overall goal of consistently escaping. On the killer side, there's the ability to consistently end chases quickly, managing and countering the actions of multiple survivors simultaneously, hooking each survivor multiple times, preventing gen completion, and then the overall goal of killing all survivors. To create a matchmaking system which takes all of these variables and more into account isn't feasible. Therefore, I don't expect them to implement one. However, at the bare minimum, should the DBD community not at least know what the system considers to be a win or a loss, so that we know which variables are most important to succeeding in the game? Based on the information that we do have, I assume that on the killer side, both hooks and kills are the key variables, and on the survivor side, generators completed and escapes. Now, there are many reasons as to why these aren't the only factors which determine the skill of a player, with one of them being the fact that a survivor theoretically could loop a killer for 5 generators and die, and by these metrics, that would be considered a loss. Furthermore, a survivor could hide all game, complete maybe a gen or two, and escape through the hatch, and that would be considered a win by these metrics. Now, I won't go into any more depth in that regard, so I'll now discuss the new grading system. For those of you who haven't already seen the 5.2.0 patch notes, the key takeaways are the Pinhead changes and the new grade ranking system. Ranks will become grades and feature all new icons ranging from Ash to Iridescent. You can increase your grade by earning pips just like before, though there's now a limit on how many pips you can lose. On the 13th of each month, grades reset to Ash 4th, the lowest grade, and you'll receive up to 250,000 blood points, depending on how far you've managed to climb. You'll be rewarded for each role separately, so playing both sides can reap double the rewards. Now initially, I thought this was really cool, and on the surface, it didn't actually seem too different to the rank system we're used to. That was until I realized the grades have no impact on your matchmaking whatsoever. It is only the MMR that influences your matchmaking, therefore the question has to be asked. On the 13th of each month, does your MMR rank reset as well, or just your grade? If so, then those who ended the previous month with a high MMR are going to have a more difficult time rising from Ash to Iridescent than someone who starts the month with a lower MMR. On the other hand, I do like the fact that there is now an incentive to play both Killer and Survivor, as quite a few people I know stick to the one side only. Regarding the patch notes specifically, the developers stated, during peak hours, 99% of matches formed were what we consider reasonably balanced, with your odds of escaping or killing a survivor varying within 25% of the average. Better yet, 75% of matches fell within a 5% chance. This is a huge step from rank-based matchmaking where 99% of matches saw a 45% variation, and 75% of matches saw a 25% variation. Now, what is important to take away from this is that disparity and variation are viewed as negative, and consequently variation must be reduced to create a more consistent experience for players. Personally, I believe this is completely backwards, and I will explain why after I ask you all this question. What makes Dead by Daylight fun and enjoyable for you? Some people will say the replayability, some people will say the extensive variety of perks, killers, survivors, maps, and just content overall. Well, how would you feel if I told you this variety is going to be reduced significantly following the implementation of skill-based matchmaking? I know, I wouldn't be very happy either, and this is why I think it's going to happen. Let's assume you run a very average build. On the killer side, you use Sloppy Butcher, Unrelenting, Thrilling Tremors, and Calgephobia. And on the survivor side, you use, let's say, Urban Evasion, Left Behind, Camaraderie, and Spinechill. Even with these average builds, eventually you're going to perform better. It is something that happens naturally and comes with experience. Soon your MMR will increase to the point you are versing other players that are similar to you, or players that are less skilled with meta perks and items carrying them. As your MMR rises more and more, the viability of these average perks will decrease, as they won't be able to compete with the meta builds. As a player who's just looking to have fun, eventually you'll be forced to use more meta perks so you can actually compete with these higher MMR killers, as the variation has been reduced since the patch, meaning you'll verse the same caliber of players every single match. As of right now, there are 24 killers and 134 perks in the game. After the new matchmaking is implemented, the number of these killers and perks you will actually succeed with will be reduced significantly, resulting in the same killers every game running the same perks and survivors with the same perks, offerings, and items. Now let's go back to the question I asked you guys before. What makes Dead by Daylight fun and enjoyable for you? Following what I've just said regarding the matchmaking, does your answer still stand true knowing the number of viable characters and perks is going to be reduced? Now, I think we've discussed what I believe to be the most prominent issues associated with the new matchmaking system. So now it's time for the solution. It sounds so simple that just about anyone with moderate gaming experience would know what I'm talking about. I'll give you a hint. It is used in some of the most highly successful games of the modern era, such as Apex Legends, Overwatch, and Rainbow Six Siege. Still not sure what it is? Okay, I'll tell you. It's the use of both a casual and ranked mode. While there are some players out there who are looking to challenge themselves every match and become the best player in their region, most of us, myself included, are just looking to have fun. I want to run meme builds and go for crazy saves and chases. However, unless you're happy with getting 2 to 4 hooks every game, or 40-second chases against the same meta killers, then it isn't going to happen following the implementation of the new system. The reason that DBD's ranked/casual hybrid that we've been used to has worked for so long is because of variation. Even at rank 1, the difference between a player who has just hit rank 1 for the first time and someone who has 8,000 hours is enormous. This means that even when you hit the top, you would still get a lot of variety in your games. Almost every killer is viable, and the replayability and unpredictability of each game you went into made it fun and exciting. However, that may not be the case following the patch, which is why I propose the implementation of both a casual and ranked mode. Now, I've heard the counter arguments to this, with the most prominent being, if a casual mode is added, then the matchmaking for the ranked could suffer, as most people wouldn't want to play it. Well, isn't that telling you something if that does happen? It means that people aren't looking to sweat every game, and just want to have a fun time with their friends. At least with the two modes, people would have a choice as to the experience they're going to have in their matches, rather than being forced to constantly play with their best build and their best characters every single match. Alright, well that is pretty much everything I wanted to discuss regarding the new skill-based matchmaking system being implemented. I would love to hear your thoughts on the matter, so be sure to comment whether you guys agree or disagree and what you think would be best for the community and longevity of the game. Also, please note that this is just my opinion, and I'm trying to remain as optimistic and hopeful as possible that I'll still be able to have a great time on one of my favorite games following the patch. If it turns out that what I've said doesn't happen and that I'm just completely wrong, then I'll be more than happy to come out and admit that I was wrong, as I do really hope that I am wrong. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this type of video, which is very different to the usual, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care, everybody.